Hello and welcome to another episode of Random Musings. Thank you so much for all the love that you guys have showered and bestowed and shown and shared and expressed on YouTube and also on other podcast platforms like Amazon Music, particularly, and also on Spotify and etc. etc. But thank you so much for that. I just wanted to start our episode with this. If you follow Random Musings, you know that every episode is about friends of mine who I've had so many good conversations with, and I've always had this thought back of my mind that what if we could talk in public about certain things and all of you get to become a part of that conversation in some sense. So today's guest is also from that lot of friends that I have, where I've always thought, we should talk on random musings so that we can talk about things that we often probably don't talk about, or maybe we've talked about, but we have more to say on those topics. And in that spirit, one of India's best comedians, one of my favorite humans, give it up for Nivedita. Nivedita Prakasham. Nivedita.
Hi.
Welcome, Nivedita. Can't
Thank you.
wait to talk to you on Random Musings.
I'm
Welcome.
so happy. I've been watching this show and I've always thought how eloquent is every comedian in the scene in this show. I hope I'm half of what all of you have been on the show so far.
Not, no. Okay. I wanna one of our common topics. Although I'm not a Tamilian, but I spent some time in heartland of Tamil Nadu back in the day, 2004 to 2008. And as I often say on stage, when somebody asks me, Ki, when were you in Tamil Nadu? I often say I was there from Chandramukhi to Shivaji. Because, and the reason I'm starting with this reference is because that's how intertwined my equation with Tamil Nadu was. It still is. I think I'm connected to Tamil Nadu for three reasons. One is food, of course. One is all my friends that I made there. Some of them are still in Tamil Nadu. And third is the movies. I feel connected because every year I watch all sorts of good movies that come out of Tamil cinema. And I revisit the old ones, like I revisit Nayagan and Talapati and Iruvar and Anbe Shivam and all of those classics. So I'm completely obsessed with Tamil cinema is what I wanted to say. And so I am so glad that we might actually talk about Tamil cinema with you, Nivita, and you have certain other perspective. We talk about Tamil cinema in so many different sense now. Like the
Yeah.
conversations around us for now in India in the last couple of years has become around something called pan India cinema. After the success of a lot of Telugu films like RRR and Pushpa, to an extent, the Malayalam films in certain circuit, their own niche, the Fahad Fadils of the world. And in Tamil cinema, some of the dubbed movies that are working like Vikram or Jailer and all that. And some of the critically acclaimed movies like Super Deluxe, etc. So basically, Tamil cinema and South Indian cinema is becoming a thing to be talked about of late in a pan India, in a global sense, also in some sense. But there are certain aspects of the Tamil film industry which are probably not that much talked about. You know what I mean? So I am very excited to see what among those are you going to talk to us about, Nived?
I want to start with Tamil cinema has been a huge part of my life also. I mean, I did grow up abroad for a bit. So, when you live abroad, one of your major connections to the country is media. And so I remember having so many, it was the 90s when I was in Kenya. So we used to have these cassettes of all like the best movies like Kadalan. I remember being a huge Prabhudeva fan when Kadalan came out because I just thought he danced so well. It was a very entertaining movie, just a great film. And I remember having such a strong connection with Tamil Nadu while I was in Kenya because of the movies. So I was a huge Rajnikant fan. I was a huge Prabhudeva fan. And obviously, the movies have been a huge part of my life. But it was so strange that when I came to Tamil Nadu, when I moved here, and I saw the impact that Tamil films had. Like when I was a kid, you don't realize you're just enjoying the entertainment. You feel like this is your culture and you're really connected to it. And then I think it was when I was 16 when Shivaji came out, and I went to the theaters to watch it with my friend because I was like, we have to watch it in the theaters. And I remember going to the theaters for it. And there was this specific joke that they have in the movie about colorism. Actually, it's when Rajnikant is trying to become fairer for Shreya Saran,
Hmm.
right? And he has the whole song sequence, and by the end of the song sequence, she says, "No, I like you just the way you are. You
Hmm.
don't have to put this maida." That's a joke,
Hmm.
right? But in the same movie, there was a part where they introduced two dark-skinned girls who
Hmm.
are neighbors of Rajnikant, who their father, who is actually a very big like celebrity in Tamil Nadu called Solomon Papaya,
Hmm.
and he's so good at conducting these debate shows and everything, very well respected.
Hmm.
He appears in the film, and there's a joke between him and Rajnikant where he's trying to tell Rajnikant to marry one of his daughters, and they're both twins called Angavai and Sangavai, and they're both dark skinned girls, but you can see clearly in the film that they've darkened their face even more to show them that they're darker, than in a way that's not flattering to them, to portray them as not good looking possibly. And in that scene in the theaters, I remember it like hitting me so hard because I didn't find that funny at all. And I looked around, but everybody else seemed to be enjoying it.
Hmm.
And it just made me very uncomfortable on that day. And I thought, this is not right, right? So I knew at that point that I was not alone, that
Hmm.
other people had felt this way too. And I remember it wasn't a big conversation, but it had already begun where people were like, that was not okay.
Hmm.
That was an
Hmm.
entertaining movie, but that one scene, it made everybody feel a little bit especially women. I don't think men really felt it
Hmm.
because you know that was happening to a girl, and the punchline was that they were not good looking. And but for the women who were watching it, immediately that made it so, it put it in front of us. The whole colorism issue was right there, and we couldn't
Hmm.
ignore it. But
Hmm.
I remember, like, nothing has been done about that. Like, even today, when you watch a lot of South Indian films, you'll see that there are only fair skinned actresses. Even if they take a South Indian actress, she has to be fair skinned, or there's no way she's gonna. I don't even think you can audition if you're
Hmm.
not fair skinned. There's actually an interview by Charitra Chandran, who is
Hmm.
cast in Bridgerton, the show on Netflix,
Hmm.
and she is cast as she's a Tamil girl, a darker skinned Tamil girl, who's cast as an Indian in Bridgerton. And they asked her if she would ever have ambition to be in South Asian film, like
Hmm.
Indian film cinema. And she answered that she might be too dark to make it in Indian cinema, and that they wouldn't possibly hire her. And she's right. She's right about that. Someone that looks like Charitra Chandran would not make it. Forget about Indian cinema. She wouldn't make it in Tamil cinema, which is it's so sad that, people that look like me or like darker than me aren't represented in our own state. Like, it's very sad, but it's also, I don't think they know the impact that this has on us.
Hmm. Wow. I had some notes from what you said. Let me start by this simple thing for our audience, North Indian audience. I want to clarify a few cultural context in my limited understanding of Tamil cinema. For example, Kadalan is actually Humse Mukabla. If you guys are waiting for a reference, if you don't know, so that's Kadalan was this blockbuster early 90s film, which of course became very popular in North as well, especially with the songs with Urvashi and Mukkala and all that. So it was crazy. Okay. Then when you said Shivaji, I want to talk about that because I also saw it in theater. And I want to give another cultural context to a lot of people in North who don't understand a lot of conversations around Tamil cinema. Is that in Tamil Nadu, and now we are talking about Tamil Nadu, and it might be largely true also in Andhra, and to an extent true in Karnataka and Kerala. But we can talk about Tamil cinema better than the other three states. The You have to understand the part of movies and the cultural impact that movies have on society. There's something that just loses in cultural context for many of us North Indians. We don't understand a lot of these things. For example, when I went to watch Shivaji for the first time in Chennai, nobody saw the film in the sense that everyone had gone for a cultural celebration. Like, like everyone was Because, and I walked around, I couldn't hear anything. So I was asking like, kya bola, what did he say? And everyone was like, Arey, this is just first time you don't come to watch the movie. We'll watch it again. Everyone's reaction was, dude, this, we are coming back next week to watch it. This is just the first day celebration. So, which was very new for me. I was like, okay, what? So people have to understand that this is how movies are watched. This is why, when you understand the impact of cinema and heroes on real life, is when you understand some of the things that you've seen outside cinema. When somebody tells somebody in the north that MGR became chief minister, or NTR in Andhra became chief minister, they're like, how does, because people most, and it's changing gradually for sure, but people couldn't understand the difference between real life and real life. When MGR comes for election campaign in a village, you don't see that this is a AIADMK founder politician who has come. They feel their savior has come to the village. Now everything will be sorted, just like it does on screen. Like, people have to understand this. So the impact of scenes like the colorism scene that you talked about, for a lot of us watching this episode might be like, nahi, but aisa bhi kya hai? Film ka scene tha yaar, people understand. It's a funny scene, quote unquote. No, the impact, especially there, is just too much. So I wanted to clarify that to our audience. Now, 90s is, you start talking about your love for Tamil cinema in the 90s and now. And from, again, my limited understanding, I remember this pattern in every Tamil film, that the heroine will be, in fact, for a long time, most heroines were North Indians who
Yeah.
couldn't speak Tamil. Like Simran, one of the best actresses of Tamil cinema, came from North, and amongst many others. Even the Tamilian actresses like Trishas of the world would be fairer and like very urban, etc. But the hero, there was no this thing. Like, again, conventionally, when a North Indian first goes to South India and sees a Dhanush on screen or a Vijay on screen, they get very surprised on the first day. कि ये कैसे hero hai? That used to be a joke in our college, because when we went to college, Apadi Pode was viral. It was Gilly. It was around 2004, and every North Indian who saw this was like, "ये कैसा hero hai?" So for them, from a North Indian lens, you can't have heroes like Vijay and Dhanush. But from a South Indian lens, it was very, very okay to have Vijay, Dhanush, and Rajni before that, and many, many other actors. But for actresses, they wanted, like, okay, like it has to be like a fair, Jyotika has to be fair, and like Nayantara has to be fair. But I want to talk to you about on those lines, Nivedita, because what I've heard from my conversations in Chennai of late with a lot of people associated with films, that it's gradually changing, is what I've heard. I don't know. I don't know how true it is, but I'm hearing that of late people are sort of realizing that maybe this is where we need to work upon. Is it true, or no? Largely, it's still the same. Or do you see a change since you started watching Tamil cinema?
So this is I don't see a change yet, but I think the conversation has begun. As we like I have started talking about it in my stand-up. A
Mm,
lot of people are not going to like this in the beginning, but I've started speaking about it in my stand-up. Right when I released my video, there's an anti-caste channel called Neelam Social, which is a Tamil YouTube channel started by the director Paranjit.
oh,
And
wow.
yes, that channel just released a documentary maybe 2 days after I released my stand-up video
Mm,
about exactly this, about colorism in Collywood. So they
mm,
have I think it's a 20-minute long documentary or something, and it
mm,
covers everything that we have just spoken about and more, and how this impacts, Tamil people. So I think there's slowly the conversation is beginning, especially because of the internet. The internet has a huge part to play here, because finally voices that were not heard before are being heard now,
mm,
right? Like the reason I think Paranjit is spearheading this is because he's also not an upper caste
mm,
director, right? He is a Dalit director, a filmmaker, and he has broken through this.
mm,
This in like it's not easy to break through in
mm, mm,
these industries,
mm,
and I think once he broke through, he's making like a huge impact in every area. But even in the documentary, they mentioned that the producer has very little
mm,
apparently power to change anything in the film.
mm,
A lot of the time when you're making a film, it's the actors. Like you said, MGR was so powerful that as soon as he got out of films, he was immediately able to enter politics. This is true for every actor. Vijay is now entering politics,
mm,
Talapati Vijay. And there's a very high chance he's like one of the only oppositions for DMK right now. It's a very high chance that people will vote for him in the next
mm,
election. There's a huge impact of Tamil cinema on the people. Like it's larger than life, and it should be. It's very entertaining. They know how to make the people happy most of the time. The audiences have also now started watching other films, and their taste has changed a little bit. They're demanding for better films. Like there's so many factors here, but it's still going to take a very long time because as far as I've seen, Tamil people are still extremely defensive
mm,
about this issue. A lot of people don't accept it at all. I don't
mm,
think a lot of the time you'll hear that a lot of people um, disagree that you should have a dark skinned actress in the film. They'll say, oh, no, 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 but it should go according to talent. I remember
mm,
this argument happening on Twitter when I was talking about the show, The Family Man, and
mm,
how they sort of darkened Samantha's face so that she
mm,
could look Elam Tamil. And now there are so many issues with that show when it comes to representation in general, right? I've seen so many perspectives. Like the Muslims are not happy with the way they've been portrayed. Elam
mm,
Tamil people are absolutely not happy because they have a very
mm,
important history that they have not been able to talk about because it goes against both governments. It goes
mm,
against the Sri Lankan and the Indian government. So the people who went through a genocide are not able to talk about their experiences. They're not able to make films about their experiences.
mm,
But an Indian, South Indian, has made a film about them, showing them
mm,
in a light that they do not agree with. Nobody agrees with this. Like it's a very one-dimensional. Like if you're going to talk about a community that has been wronged so much, you better do your research and portray it correctly, right? But also get some consent, maybe, of
mm,
whether you can talk about this, especially when that community is not able to talk about it themselves.
mm,
But also the to put darker makeup on her face to make her look Elam Tamil is even
mm,
like that's just it's like they're doing it without any consequences. There's no consequences to these filmmakers when
mm,
they make mistakes. It's not even a mistake because a mistake you would like realize and you'd be like, oh, this is I shouldn't have done this. But I remember when all of us started telling them that you can't, this is not okay, you should not be darkening people's faces. We have enough issues already in it's bad for our self-esteem. Like I don't think they realize how much this would affect a person who is dark skinned. People are constantly trying to change the way they look because
mm,
of this kind of portrayal. Imagine every portrayal of your skin tone on media is either you're a sleeper cell, you're destitute, you're poor.
mm,
It's pretty dehumanizing in a way. And
mm,
when you fight against it, I remember them saying, oh, it's COVID and you guys are being so mean. And I was
mm,
like, look at the platform we have. We don't have a platform at all. Like when I tweet something against this,
mm,
1,000 people are gonna see it, not more than that. But when you make a show, a TV show, there's like
mm,
millions of people watching this TV show. It's like without you intending, I don't know if this is your intention, but you can't be ignorant about the impact your show has. Like people who are watching it are going to internalize all of these things. It's going to become normal. That's why on the internet, like now that I'm putting reels up and everything, it's very
mm,
easy for people to just say like blackie or call people things like that. And I don't take it personally because I'm older now and I understand this is just the internet. But
mm,
it is encouraging people to be even more racist. And now even the people who are calling each other blackie, it's not like they're white people. We're
mm,
all brown. We're different shades of brown, but we're all brown, right? So at the end of the day, you can't be doing this. It's actually quite silly. I mean, it's funny almost because we're just insulting each other for really no reason. Like this, we're all the same. And
mm,
maybe we might be a few shades darker and everything, but that That's, you can't just be like, oh, I'm one shade lighter. Thank God. It's like really silly to be that person, especially when you're Indian. Once you go abroad, nobody outside cares what
mm,
shade of brown you are. You're brown.
mm,
Nobody cares.
mm,
So I think, like you said about, when North Indians come and see South cinema, they look at an actor and go like, how did he become an actor?
mm,
That's what
mm,
we're proud of in the South. In the
mm,
South, we're proud that our actors look like
mm,
Tamil men.
mm,
These are, and it's aspirational almost. Like every time, like a Vijay Sethupathi comes on screen, like Tamil men feel represented. They're like, yeah, this is what we look like, and this person is cool, and
mm,
we're happy that this person has become famous. We put him on a pedestal as he should be put, and we like him. We like that this man is representing us.
mm,
I don't know why it's so crazy for women to ask for the same thing. Like, where is my version, like the female version of Vijay Sethupathi,
mm,
Tamil cinema, right? And I remember this really fun interview by Nawazuddin Siddiqui,
mm,
where the interviewer asked him, you're such a unique face
mm,
in Hindi cinema. And he said, I don't think I'm unique. Every other guy in my village looks like me.
mm,
If there's somebody looked like Hrithik Roshan in my village, they'd be like, oh, you should go into the films because that's what's unique, that's what's rare. So it's not just in the South, this is all over the country. Everywhere you go, Indians are a certain type of brown.
mm,
We have a brown skin tone, and it's so unfortunate that the West is now representing us better than we are representing ourselves. It's very unfortunate. And don't you also think that this is definitely affecting our self-esteem at some point, like to have such a unhealthy self-image because of what media portrayal?
man, absolutely. There's so much to think about this, and so much to. And the sad part of this is when you talk about it, and like you said, the moment you raise these issues, the reaction is defensive instead of being like, okay, maybe there's a point. Let's talk about it. Instead of that, the reaction is very like, how can you? How can you say this? And then there'll be one exception, like a one exception that they'll throw at you. Look at this. Have you not seen this, you dumb-witted cinema illiterate people? Have you seen this movie before? So you're like, why? I'm not saying, I'm talking, I just want to talk about it. Talk about it. Realize that there's a mistake instead of blocking people and just being like, just get. So, but what makes me slightly surprised about when you brought up that point that people are being defensive about it. So whenever I read history of Tamil Nadu, I realize that the conversation around caste has been a core area of all the conversations. Whether it was started with Periyar back in the day, formation of Dravid Munnetra Kazhagam. It was around caste, it was around the downtrodden, it was then back in 40s, 50s, a mix of communism and caste, like the issue, both of those combined. It was against the elite, it was against the so-called repression of conversations like this. And and then post Kamaraj, like every chief minister that Tamil Nadu has represented one of the Dravidian parties, and the basis of those parties was caste. Like I am reading the biography of M. Karunanidhi, and his initial days. I mean, all the rallies that he went to, all the articles he wrote, and the times he was representing in that book from 40s and 50s, you get to understand. Oh my God, they the lower caste went through a lot. Of course, they went through it everywhere, and there are many caste-based parties in different parts of the country as well. But in Tamil Nadu, the caste-based parties have been the focus. Like they've been in power for so many years from that movement, and which again, like we said earlier, that the cinema and politics have always been intertwined. Like Karunanidhi was a script writer and also a politician. MGR was an actor, also a politician. So many other people traverse both the paths. Yet in 2024, you still don't have the let's say the confidence to talk about caste because people get defensive. And again, what amazes me again is some of the best caste-based movies that I have personally seen in India have come from Tamil cinema. Like when people talk to me about caste, and we both have friends who are not aware. of the caste issues in the country because they didn't grow up in such areas. So they're like, "Nahi, I don't think caste hota hai." So the movies I recommend to them are all Tamil movies. I recommend Jai Bhim to them. I recommend Asuran to them. I recommend many Paranjit cinema to them. I show them Kala and I ask them to see the symbolism there. I talk about Vetrimaran. Like all these guys are from Tamil cinema. I can't find a better pop culture representation of caste anywhere in the country than in Tamil cinema. Also, my other point is somebody in a rapid fire recently asked me if you had to make only one kind of cinema in life, then what kind of cinema would it be? And my reply to that was commercial cinema with a messaging. And I gave them the example of Tamil cinema. I said most commercial Tamil cinema, with all their faults, they try and bring some message in the film. Like you see this string of Vijay film. There is Sarkar, where voting, you have to vote, which is important. There's Mersal, which talks about healthcare. Even the latest Rajni movie that came out was about fake police encounter, human rights, etc. So messaging is always in place. Like Master had drugs issue amongst kids, etc., etc. How is this cinema, which prides itself in the great combination of messaging and also a commercial film, is not able to talk about these issues? That surprises me. A viewer, a ardent viewer of that cinema should be like, oh man, this is also an issue. Well said, Niveta. I think we should do something about it. We should make a movie where this is the core issue. With all the razzmatazz of cinema in place, but we'll raise this issue, yeah. This is good. Why isn't that happening? That's making me slightly surprised, is what I'm planning to say. Niveta.
Yeah, yeah, no, you're right about that. You're absolutely right about Tamil Nadu being a very anti-caste state. Like we have had anti-caste movements in our politics for so long that almost all of us agree with you know the fact that caste should be abolished, and we must have reservations until we've come to a point where caste based discrimination has been eliminated completely, which is going to take time, right? All of us agree with this. Like you said, like it has been, the messaging has been there in our films, not just now. These are films that we're talking about now. Back when Kalainar Karunanidhi was writing films, he used to put in widow remarriage and feminist ideas into his films because they were all like revolutionaries of their time, and they used it for their politics also, which is why everybody um, was so they wanted to vote for these politicians because they felt like they were going to bring about change, and they did. I'm not going to lie, there is a lot of change in Tamil Nadu on the ground level. Like the reason all of us give so much importance to education and all of
Mm,
that is because of these movements. Like a lot of the women now no girl is uneducated, all the girls get an education these days, and all of these things, that there has been a huge impact politics wise. There's no doubt about that. But I feel like the reason that hasn't like seeped into our cinema, like you said, colorism and caste go hand in hand. Throughout the country, we have this problem. Even in Bollywood, the colorism issue is related to caste. It really is. Our best movies are like that. Even Lapata Ladies had, like, what they took like lighter skinned actresses, but they
mm,
to show them that, to show the audience that they're from a village, they had
mm,
to like tan them a little bit. And now I'm not saying, I don't think the intention was to offend there, but it
mm,
still is a concept that needs to change. Like at some point, you should be okay with hiring, or casting people that have a darker skin, and not like to stereotype them in that role, and not say that dark skin people should only play like,
mm,
we live in Bombay. Look around you, everybody is dark skin and upper class. There's so many dark skinned upper class people. Like there has to be some kind of nuance there. But I feel like the fact that we are a casteist society has somehow influenced the way we make our films. It's so blatant in our films that we look down upon certain aspects of our culture. And I, the reason Tamil cinema has not been able to change that for women is because I dare say that women are not portrayed in film as humans. They're portrayed as objects. If you watch a Tamil film, there's a lot of pinching the stomach, and a lot of these midriff shots that like this is in every film. Like they hardly show up in the movie. Like if you look at a lot of the movies, Sai Pallavi has really changed that with her presence in film. We're very proud of what she's done. Like she's, I don't know, drawn boundaries in many places. I don't know if a contract says anything, but like all of the films that she acts in, she makes sure she's not being objectified to that level. But I don't see that in every other actress. I remember there was a huge controversy about Tamanna once when a director went during the launch of his movie, said that, oh, I only pay my actresses to wear short skirts so that the people will come and watch. And Nayantara, I remember, like defended Tamanna and said, nobody should be talking like this about women. And Tamanna also kind of defended herself during that time, and everybody said this is not the way to talk. You can say this is not the way to talk, but that's what you're doing. Your actions don't change. Like this man is right that these people make movies objectifying women, and that's what the audience seems to want. They don't really see women as important parts, an important part of the film. That's why they don't have very deep characters. They don't write properly for women. Like none of the female characters in these films are well rounded. If you have seen, like even in Anbe Sivam, like Kiran, is her name Kiran? I forget her name, the actress. She doesn't show up in the film for long. She's there only for a bit. And I feel like Unbasivam is such a great film. It's a beautiful film. Like I recommend it to everybody. It's funny. It has great messaging, like you said. The weakest part of the film, in my opinion, is the romance plot. The part where you go back to his, younger days and see his romance. I feel like that might be the weakest part of the film, and that's because they just don't know how to write female characters, and even when they try to, and so I don't know how this is going to change. Like, Malayalam cinema has now brought in a lot of female screenwriters. And I feel like that's probably the only way that's going to happen. You have to have women in your writers' rooms writing these films, because otherwise you're going to go wrong, and sure, you can make commercial cinema for men for as long as you want, but this is going to catch up. I don't think India quite, or even Tamil cinema quite realizes that, our movies and our entertainment, it's a representation of who we are to the rest of the world. Like when somebody wants to learn about a culture, the first thing they do is watch their entertainment. Like the reason Korean dramas and movies and music has become so popular is because they've been so careful about how they represent it to us. People have started adopting Korean culture because of how mesmerized they are by these dramas and the movies. People love Korean movies, and Korean movies are very good at representing Korean culture. Not very good, of course they make it seem even better than it actually is, but I'm saying they're very careful about how people are consuming their entertainment, how they want to portray their country, and I feel like India needs to start doing that, because when you watch an Indian movie, you can see all of our insecurities. Like all our insecurities are on display in the movie, and I think that's not a good thing for us. It also makes, I would say, it lowers the quality of our filmmaking. Just like even RRR, when it went abroad, a lot of people were like, why is he so nice to the white woman in the film? Why are they showing the white woman as to be like, because abroad nobody sees white people as like the best or anything, and we don't do that either in our films. Like in Tamil cinema, the fair North Indian guy is usually the villain. It's, that's usually the case. But I feel like we need to be very careful about how we portray our people, because people are watching. People from everywhere are watching. And it's affecting our self-image too. Like, can you imagine that Tamil girls or darker skinned girls in India have to look for representation abroad because they don't find any here in their own country? It's just quite sad.
Nice. Not nice, but nicely put is what I want. Okay, I think we've covered whatever we could from our perspective, from my very limited perspective and your much better perspective of colorism and caste issues in Tamil cinema in particular and Indian cinema in general. But I'm just my request to all our audience members, whoever is watching this and watching this on YouTube or listening to it, is, and this is a request anyway, for everything, is just try and when you listen to something that you don't agree with, take a pause and see, like, maybe what is the other person trying to say? Like, is there some merit on this? Is this, should I think about it instead of just immediately reacting to those things? Because that scares me individually to talk a lot about a lot of things, because the backlash slash the reaction that sometimes come, they discourage me so much that I just I choose to just not do it, because that always feels like the safer option. कि क्यों बोलूं इस बारे में, चल रहने देते हैं यार. That is discouraging conversation. That's discouraging just basic human nature to speak about things. That's what makes us human in society. Navita, how do you deal with all of this? Like, for example, somebody who listens to it and immediately their value system or their ego is so much that they couldn't hear a word against, this, and they are like Blackie or whatever word they come up with. How do you react to that? How do you deal with that?
This is my opinion. I have been called out for being casteist on Twitter before. And that's because I remember a long time ago, they used to write descriptions of me without my knowledge, saying that I was a Tambram comedian that's going to talk about my Tambram problems. I didn't know about this. As soon as I found out, I had to tell people, look, I'm not Tambram. You can't write this on the description.
Mm,
Tambram is a caste location, and I'm anti-caste.
mm,
So I don't think you should write this. And I rewrote these descriptions. But I remember when we were being called out as a community, like the comedy
mm,
industry, being called out for being casteist. I got called out too, and I had to explain. I said, "Oh no, I remember what you're talking about." I had to be very calm about it because I understand that these people were angry with me for something, and I had to clarify and say, "No, I'm not."
mm,
Tamram, and those descriptions were written without my knowledge. I feel like the people who wrote them sort of equated being Tamil to being Tambram. I don't think
yeah.
they realized that that
Yeah.
was a caste location. And so I had to correct it. I took it down, I rewrote it. And
Mm,
so I understand that there's a backlash that comes anytime you speak about this. Even now, I'm sure there's going to be some amount of backlash because this is a very
mm,
sensitive topic, and
mm,
we're not going to always get it right. We're going to say
mm,
something that
mm,
might trigger someone or might rub someone off the wrong way. Like you just said, they're going to come at us without thinking, or
mm,
but my opinion is that no matter what backlash you get, if your intention is in the right place, I think we're good. I don't think we're not saying anything illegal.
mm,
We have the right intention here. We
mm,
want to be supportive and allies,
mm,
and the conversation can't stop just because you're not saying the right things. You have to keep having the conversation if you
mm,
want to know what the right thing to say is.
mm,
Like it's because I had these conversations that I realized that colorism and casteism go hand in hand. I didn't know that before. I only used to talk about colorism in Collywood. That was my
mm,
main focus. And then
mm,
I had a few Dalit activists come and tell me that if you're talking about colorism, you have to talk about caste because these two things go hand in hand. And then
mm,
I corrected myself. Now I'm able to bring that into my conversation. I have a more intelligent, well-rounded conversation because of the learnings that I've had. So instead of being defensive, I think we should be a lot more accepting, especially as comedians who, at the end of the day, we do have platforms. We are making jokes,
mm,
and we can't be offended when somebody else comes at us. We anyway have a stage to say what we want.
mm,
So when people come back and say things to us, as long as you're not hurting us physically,
mm,
you know, as long as you're like telling us something that we said wrong, I think we should be open to um, open to that conversation in general.
mm. Yes, yes, that brings me to the end of this with a thought that I got the moment you start talking about Kadalan, because Kadalan is one of my favorite music albums, one of my favorite Rahman soundtracks. And there's a song uh, which Rahul Subramanian, Rahul and I love, and whenever we party, house party and all, we play that song and both of us dance. Okay, which is it, I can obviously sing the Hindi version, which is Premika ne pyar se jo bhi keh di tere vaste hai. That song has a line in the middle, uh, like I'm just quoting, not the exact line, but which is something on the lines of प्यार कभी रंग रूप देखता नहीं कालू राम के so basically what lines ki love is blind oh ye kalu ram ko bhi ladki mil gayi hai something like that and there is a visible this thing of kalu ram they are all surprised ki kalu ram because love is blind kalu ram is getting love it's just one of those lines that comes and goes and I hope it's been 30 years since Kadaran came out. I hope things have improved now and things will continue to improve. And we don't have Kalu Ram ko pyar milna should not be very like should not be a surprising thing. Ke, oh, let's do this. Let's Kalu Ram ko bhi pyar mil gaya. So yeah, we start with Kadaran, want to end with Kadaran. Thank you so much, Nivedita, for coming to Random Musing and talking about so many things. We'll go to rapid fire, but before that, I really want to thank you for coming to talk about things that you really feel strongly, knowing that there will be some person who will be offended. So the power to do that, I think I lack that courage. So it's always heartwarming to see people with that courage because I'm a coward. Let's put it that way. Let's start rapid fire, Nivedita. 10 questions, very simple, fun questions, no controversy. Only rule is that you can't think. You have to answer immediately. Are you ready?
Yes.
Okay, so we'll go through 10 questions. Then, if you want to expand on any answer later, you can do that. Like, I want to talk about this movie for a minute or this comic for a minute. Let's do it. Rapid fire. First question: favorite Indian comic, Indian comedian?
Oh my God, this is so hard. Okay, the first person I thought immediately was two people came to mind actually. Biswa, I really like Biswa very much. He's
Hmm.
very funny.
Hmm.
Um, and of the Hindi comics, Ravi Gupta is pretty
Hmm.
funny.
Biswa and Ravi Gupta. Favorite international comic?
Right now, I really like Taylor Tomlinson.
Taylor. Favorite Indian comedy special?
Oof. Uh, I think I'm going to say Rahul Subramanian's Kal Me Udega is a good special.
Wow.
Really
Okay.
fun. I really liked it. It was very funny too.
Favorite Tamil movie?
Favorite Tamil movie? Oh my God. Oh, again, this is so okay. I think I can tell you. Muri. There's a movie called Muri, and Jyotika and Prithviraj are in it. I really like that film. It's probably one of my favorites.
Okay. Okay. Only. Favorite web series?
Indian web series
Yeah.
or like any.
Any.
Okay,
Any.
because right now, I just finished watching The Penguin. I think
Oh.
it's brilliant. What a great! Oh my God!
Oh,
If people
oh,
haven't watched it, I
oh my
feel like out of all the rapid questions, this is my only real like passionate answer
God. Yeah.
because I just finished watching it and it blew my mind. What a great series!
Oh. Penguin, I still haven't finished because it's so good that, when you read a great book, you're like, I don't want it to get over. So I watched like one
Yeah.
episode, then I just like, no, give me time. I don't want any spoiler. It's so good. Oh,
I think it's the only show where I've rewatched scenes. I went
mm,
back and I was like, no way.
yeah,
What? And I had to
yeah,
rewatch a few scenes to really take it in. Wow, what a great it's been a while since I
yeah,
saw a show as good
yeah,
as this.
yeah, yeah. Favorite thing about Bombay.
The people. I love the people in Mumbai.
Favorite thing about Tamil Nadu.
My food. I
Food.
love the food in Tamil Nadu.
Mm,
There's nothing that compares for me. I brought all my I almost bought a grinder here so that I can make my own dosa mavu, my
mm,
dosa batter.
mm,
That's how much I miss
mm,
the food in Tamil Nadu. Yeah,
mm.
I really love the food.
Favorite actor.
Oof, again, so difficult. I don't know if I can. You know what? For now, I'm going to say Colin Farrell because of the Penguin. This is not the
Yeah,
case, but after
yeah,
the show, I'm into. He did
yeah,
a
yeah.
really good job.
Oh, oh, Oz. Favorite thing about yourself?
Uh, it's again hard. That okay, I'll say because of this episode now. I'm quite patient.
Hmm, hmm, hmm.
I'm patient. I will wait.
Okay.
I will wait for the backlash, and I'll be calm through it. I'm patient and
Yeah,
calm.
yeah, yeah. Okay, we'll go through your answers, Nivedita, once quickly. If you want to add anything, otherwise it's completely fine. Favorite Indian comedian, you said Biswa and Ravi Gupta. Favorite
Yeah,
international comedian, you said, sorry, what did I write? Taylor Tomlinson. Sorry, I don't know.
Taylor
Taylor
Tomlinson is
Tomlinson. Okay.
yeah, a female
Hmm,
comic in the West. It's now doing really well, actually.
hmm. Okay, okay. Favorite Indian special, you said Kalme Odega. Nice, nice. I'm giving extra points to you for that. Favorite Tamil movie, you want to talk about this movie for a bit because I don't know about the movie. So,
Morty,
yeah.
Morty, yeah. I want to talk about Morty because it's one of those films, like the Tamil cinema has so many films and different flavors. Like back in the 2000s, they were very varied. Like now, I feel like everything is so violent because of
Hmm,
the new age need for violence. I don't know what it is,
hmm,
but back in the day we used to have like really sweet films, and Modi is one of those films. It's
hmm,
about Jyotika and how Prithviraj kind of falls in love with her and how
hmm,
they navigate a relationship. It's so funny, it's so sweet. It's just a very feel good movie. It's very underrated. I remember going with my friends from school. All of us loved it. It's such a film made for women.
hmm,
It's very rare, by the way, that Tamil films are made for girls to watch,
hmm,
and I feel like this is the closest you'll get. Um,
hmm,
yeah, it's a very good film. I recommend it if you're into sweet love stories which also
hmm,
have a little bit of messaging but also funny. Watch Molly, and it's spelled Mozhi. Molly.
hmm. Mori. Hmm.
Yeah.
Mori. Yeah, like Cory Code. Uh,
Yes.
yeah. Man, since we talked about how he met OJ Simpson so many times, so obviously I'm just talking about meeting a celebrity randomly. Okay, so there was
Huh.
one moment I was in Kashmir of all
Huh.
places,
Huh.
sitting in Srinagar in a
Huh.
very nice hotel, sitting in their late night bar.
Hmm.
No, no shore, nothing, just bunch of people sitting quietly drinking their cocktails. And I see a guy in front of me and in the dim light, and then I go and speak closely and that was the lead actor of Mori, is what I want to say.
Really? Oh my God, he's great.
And I'm like, oh my God.
He's a very
Yeah,
talented. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Web series Penguin, of course, we can talk for hours about Penguin, but without any spoiler, Nivedita, to our audience, maybe a couple of reasons why, if they haven't seen the Penguin, why should they watch the Penguin?
It has the craziest plot twist, but so gradually. Like you'll not see it coming. Like it twists your emotions like it's never been twisted before. And that goes to the writing team. My God, I don't know how they pulled that off. It was so gradual but so effective. Like your opinions of the characters in the show, just like a roller coaster. Oh my God, it's insane. I've never watched a show where my opinion changed so drastically towards the end of the show.
Yeah, yeah. Man, oh yes, I will resist the temptation. Talk about the penguin. Oh my God. Ah. But yeah, shout out, of course, because your next answer was, I mean, later answer was Colin Farrell, but also to Christine Milotti, who plays Sofia Falcone or Falcone.
Oh
She
my
is
God, she's
just
amazing.
for
I
somebody who
love
you saw as the mom in How I Met, remember that yellow, to this man, she's so good. She's
she's
so
so
good.
good. No,
Oh my,
every actor in this show has
yeah, yeah,
really hit it out of the park. I don't
really.
know how every actor has just given their. I think it's also because of how well the show is written, though. Like, there's no way you couldn't have the emotions
Yeah,
with
yeah,
the
yeah.
way it's been written.
Favorite thing about Tamil Nadu, you said food and you said you your bringing some element of your state
Yeah.
here.
Yeah, it's the thing I miss the most actually about leaving home.
Yeah. Great actor Colin Farrell, we already touched, and very thing about yourself is patient. Thank you so much, Nivedita. Finally, we've done our random musings episode. Always a pleasure to talk to you offline, online, anywhere. Huge respect for everything that you do. On that note, I think we can end this episode. Thank you so much, Nivedita. Thank you so much.
Thanks. Can I also say thank you for giving me this platform?
Oh, yeah, of course. Thank you.
I want to do that. I want to
Yes,
thank you
please.
for giving. All right. So I want to thank you for giving me this platform to talk about what I want. It's not easy. Like you're saying, you don't want to talk about these things, but you've done the greatest thing by giving me a place to talk about these things. I don't usually get the opportunity to do this. And you're right, it's pretty scary to do it, but I'm glad you're willing to have that conversation with me.
Yeah.
And I hope we all have that kind of conversation in the future.
Thank you, Nita. Thank you so much. Thank you. What a wonderful note to end this. Because the whole idea, I often ask, why do we do what we do? And I think one of those reasons is if we can enable conversations that lead to a change
Yeah.
anywhere in the world, somewhere, something is changing because of what we are doing. That is a great feeling to go to bed with every night. Thank you so much, Niveta. Thank you.